Now, let's talk about the windows we have available to us. On the left side, we have Place Actors window. It's a window that lets you drag and drop any actor, object, or shape, or light, anything really, to your scene easily. You can have your own created assets be here as well, that you can just drag and drop into the scene. On the right side, we have World Outliner. What does World Outliner do? World Outliner is a list of every object or actor existing in your scene in the level. You can click on them here and you will have them automatically selected in the level. You can click here and you can see the name. It is quite useful to organize your layout. So for example, all blocks are inside block folder. You can hide them in combination instead of clicking them individually and hiding them from the level or deleting or moving them. You can click this or like this, multiple objects at the same time to move them around at the same time. It is quite useful. You can move around all windows in your Unreal Engine scene. So, for example, you can take the outliner, detach it, make it a separate window. Or you can attach it in another place, bottom of the screen maybe. Or maybe you want it on left. It's up to you, really. You can remove it if you want. And if you want it back, you can always go to the window, tap on top, and find the window you just removed. You can have multiple windows of the same thing as well. So Outliner is now back, and I would prefer it on the right. We have Details panel as well. So when you have an object selected, you get detailed information here. So let me move this here on top, as I prefer. And now we have access to the information about this object. As you can see, as I move this, the transformation location here changes. I can manually input any value I want. I can rotate it from here, if I wish so, or scale it up or down. If I want to scale it uniformly, I can click on this lock button and scale it this way. There's also materials here and mesh. So here, if you have an object in the scene that you want to keep all this transform location and access scale, but you want to change the mesh, you can click here and search or just choose the mesh you want to switch it to. So now I want to change it to this chair. So I clicked on the chair. Now we have a chair. Let's look at it closely. And yes, now we have a chair in the scene. If I want to undo it, I can always Ctrl Z. Now I have my cube back. If I want to change material, I can just choose a material from here. Let's try this with Queen 01. And now our cube looks different. Let's have a yellowish cube with some metallic for now. It's the same material that was used for the chair. Now that we are done with looking at the details and outliner, let's talk about content drawer. You can click on content drawer here, which will let you look at all assets available to you in your project. The starter content contains a lot of useful meshes, materials, props, particles to learn Unreal Engine, and if you want to just prototype a level for your game. Here, let's go to the props, and we have multiple meshes we can use from. So let's put a table You can just drag it and drop it into the scene, give it a moment to compile shaders, and now you have a chair in your screen. If you want to have your content browser visible at all times and not go down and hide itself, you can click on Dock in Layout button here. This will let you have a content browser on your screen at all times. You can put it into your second screen, or as all other windows, you can just attach it somewhere. So I prefer to have it on the below my screen. If you have any issues with your layout, or let's say you by somehow deleted the windows and you don't remember their names or how to restore them, what you can do is click on the window tab on top, click on load layout, and click on default editor layout. So this will restore Unreal layout. And you can click Control Space, and you have your content browser back, your details panel, and outliners are all back. You may notice we don't have Place Actors tab anymore. That's because that's the default layout for Unreal 4 Classic, which we don't really need. Place Actors tab can be also accessed from here. Everything that's in the Place Actors, more or less, can be accessed here. And you can always just click on a shape you want or an object, and you can just have it pop up into your scene. There are a lot of other windows in the Windows tab that we will talk in the future lectures. Few more details about the Unreal interface. If you have an object selected and you move it around, you will see it's moving at a certain increment. It's like it's snapping. This is because we have this option here enabled. If you increase the snapping, it will only snap in the increments of 100. If you put it like 1, you will see you have a smooth movement. And if you just disable it, you have even more incremental movement. I personally like to have it kept at 1 or 10 for the purpose of like having a uniform location for my objects in the scene. You can do the same with rotation and scaling. We also have viewport options here. If you click on the viewport options here, 3 lines on the left side, you will have a lot of options available to you. We will talk about them in the future lectures, but the one you should probably keep in mind is screen percentage. If you have screen percentage enabled, you can click on custom override and click on the screen percentage you want. If you look at the background here, on the lines on the objects, if I reduce my screen percentage, the lines will get blurry. This is because this is now rendering only 25% of the polygons available in the scene. If you put it in 200, it will render them at higher resolution. I recommend to keep it at 100 to have a good quality. Which is a good reference to how your game will look. Of course, if your game has lower resolution settings enabled, you can also essentially get a good feel about it by putting into, like, let's say if your game is going to have a 50% resolution, you can just put it here and Now this is how it will look if your game has only 50% resolution, or 25 or 200 for, let's say, 4K. We will discuss this in the future lectures. There's also selection mode, landscape, foliage, mesh, modeling, fracture, brush editing, and animation tabs, which we will also discuss in the future lecture. Here, if you press on the play button or Alt P in your keyboard, this will go into play mode. What play mode does is essentially simulates your game. We have the third person template selected, so we have everything pre-set up for third person. We can move around by using WASD, jump, and if depending on the template, some templates may have a gun which you can shoot, or a vehicle you can move around with, or a flying object that you can fly with. Now, let's talk about Unreal interface and navigation. To move around your camera, hold right mouse button. If you want to go forward, click W, S to backwards, left A, right D, down Q, E for up. You can scroll up to increase or decrease your camera movement speed. Or you can click and select your camera speed here. We also have gizmos to move around the objects in the scene. By default, if you have select objects gizmo, you will not see anything. If you click W or click on the select and translate objects icon on top, you will get these arrows. These arrows can be used to move around the object. Or you can click on the circle just to move it in 3D space. You can also click on E key or this icon on top to select and rotate objects, which will let you use rotation gizmo. There's also scale objects gizmo. Click R or click this icon on top and you can scale your objects as you want. To hide your gizmo, you can always click Q button or click select objects icon on top here to hide your gizmo. And make sure you don't by accident move your objects around.